Hello everyone, I am back. My name is Vanessa and I am horrible about giving the date. Today is Wednesday, August 19th, 2020, and I will try to incorporate the dates each time that I upload a video from now on. I'll try my best to remember. But anyway, this is my second reading of today. I uploaded a video earlier today. Well, it's still processing right now, but it should soon be available on YouTube. And the name of my channel is Gnostic Knowledge. Gnostic meaning hidden. And so far I've read from the book of Letters and Numbers written by Zachary K. Hubbard. I've read from chapter 1 up to chapter 5, and so I am going to be starting with chapter 6 in this session. And I want to encourage all of you, any of you that come across this channel, I hope you appreciate the reading. And like I say earlier, I know I'm not the best reader in the world. I don't have the best reading voice, but this information, I feel everyone should know it and should have access to it. I mean, it's better to know than not know and always guessing. But with Gematria, you don't have to guess, because what is taking place in our world governments, it is Gematria. It doesn't matter what it is. The curriculum that you take in school, sports, movies, it is all done via Gematria, and to make mockery of the people, really. So the book Letters and Numbers, you can get this book on Zachary K. Hubbard's two YouTube channels. One is called Gematria Effect News, the other is called Gematria Effect Sports, and under each of his videos he leaves a description, and there's a link there for you to purchase the book Letters and Numbers. It is a PDF file. You will once you pay for the book, that book will come to you via email. You open the file, save it to whichever reading device you're going to use to read it. He left the copyright off the book purposefully so you can take it to your local bindery and have it bound into a book for your own personal library. But having it as a PDF format is also good, because there's over 700 pages of content. Excuse me. And if you want to look for information, having it in electronic format makes the search that much easier. Zachary K. Hubbard also has written a second book called Number Games, and this book can be obtained at his blog page, and that is called GematriaEffect.news. When you arrive at the page, the first thing you see is the advertisement for the book Number Games, and beneath there you can find the information on how to order the book within the United States and outside of the United States. So be sure that you guys pick up the books, read the books, understand the information, because it is vital that people wake up to what has actually been taking place. And Gematria is the encoding of numbers into our letters and words, and they are using the Bible as their playbook to do it. So if anything, they're offsetting prophecies and creating their own, and it just needs to be stopped. But anyway, with that said, I am going to begin with chapter 6. And chapter 6 is Sacred Geometry, where letter, number, shape, and symbol meet. All right. Out of all the important shapes and symbols relating to sacred geometry, it is the flower of life that is the most coveted, because of how many other relevant geometric shapes it gives birth to, which we will uncover. Every religion of the world pays homage to this shape without exception. Please take a moment to examine the flower of life shown to the left, knowing it is composed of 61 circles, a very special amount, again the 18th prime number factoring into 6 plus 6 plus 6. As we covered in chapter 3, the number 666 relates to Metatron's cube, which is also related to the flower of life, and it and is meant to symbolize creation, same as the flower of life. It is because of this shape, the flower, that in ordinal gematria the prime equates to 61. The word prime, I'm sorry, let me reread that. It is because of this shape, the flower, that in ordinal gematria the word prime equates to 61. Just wait until we get to Roger Maris's scripted record 61st home run in 61, recognizing a baseball is circular and the flower of life is 61 circles. So I'm going to take a quick moment here to show you the flower of life, and that is it right there, the flower of life. And you can go on Google or whichever search engine you use and look that shape up. Anyway, the word prime equates to 61 in the ordinal cipher. Okay, on the subject of religion, take a moment to consider Christianity and the spiritual centerpiece of the faith, Jesus Christ. Here is a short list of words having gematria of 61 that pertain to faith. As we decode, understand that the symbolism within prime numbers is power and strength, because they cannot be divided. They are inseparable, like the Christian who has faith never wavering. Okay, the word Jesus equates to 61 in reverse ordinal. The word John equates to 61 reverse ordinal. The word cross equates to 61 in reverse ordinal. The word Christian equates to 61 in reverse reduction. The word Christmas equates to 61 in reverse reduction, and the word church equates to 61 in ordinal. Out of the many shapes that can be derived from the flower of life, out of the many shapes that can be derived from the flower of life are the fruit of life and the seed of life. Not by chance the word fruit has reverse ordinal gematria of 61, and so does the entire phrase the seed of life in reverse reduction. Consider further, in the story of creation from Genesis, God gives mankind fruit and seeds to eat, commanding a vegetarian diet, something that changes later in the Bible. The word fruit equates to 61 in reverse ordinal. The seed of life equates to 61 in reverse reduction. Okay, to the left is the fruit of life overlaid on the flower of life. Notice it is composed of 13 circles taken directly from the flower. In terms of Jesus Christ, his initials JC in the ordinal are 10 plus 3, 13, and it is he and his 12 disciples, or 13 men, not unlike the Babylonian zodiac of 13 constellations, or the current zodiac where we observe 12 constellations of stars plus the sun, the most crucial star of all. This also connects to Revelation 13, where the isopsophy riddle is presented to the reader about 666, the number of the beast and the number of a man who was created on the sixth day of creation. Okay, I'm going to go back and show you the flower of life, and you can also see the gematria of the word Jesus, John, cross, Christian, Christmas, and church. So I'm going to hold this up for a few seconds so you guys can see that. Okay, and there we are. I don't know, did that block it? Let me just show one more time. Okay, the seed of life. All right, now and return to the reading. Okay, in terms of the earth and its relation to the sun and stars, according to science, the earth is tilted at 23.4 degree angle, meaning it is 66.6 degrees off center. 666. Keep in mind, we are said to be the children of the stars, the children of earth, as above, so below. And let us not forget, 13 is the sixth prime number. This same shape, the fruit of life, and its 13 circles, is claimed to be the blueprint of the entire universe, capturing the foundation for the design of the molecular structure of all living organisms. It is also the key geometric shape within the larger flower of life for what is Metatron's cube. You must know that I am not here to argue the scientific relevance or accuracy of any of this. I am only showing you what is believed and what is studied and what is practiced, so that you are no longer in the dark about these beliefs of others that are influencing all of our lives, Christian or otherwise. Next up is the seed of life, and I'm going to show you that really quickly. That is the seed of life. Okay? That representation of the seed of life. All right. Next up is the seed of life, which are the 7 circles from the center of the fruit of life that is taken from the center of the flower of life. For anyone who has sliced open an apple or any other fruit, surely you know about the seeds in the center, thus the reason for the name seed of life. Understand, all these geometric shapes come from the world around us, from the natural environment God created for us. All of this knowledge is intuitive. Please take a moment to gander at the seed of life shown to the left. Here it is pictured with 7 circles overlapping, forming multiple Vesica Pisces, or what is known as the womb of the universe, and is yet another symbol that is showcased in all religions of the world. Again, 7 symbolizes the divine, and to the spiritual, this symbol is a visual representation of how God created the world, using 7 days for the entire process. Using sacred geometry, the belief is God began with one sacred circle, which is the circle of the center of the seed of life, and each day multiplied from that circle to bring the next component of creation into existence, similar to the way he made Eve from Adam's rib, and similar to how before that he made Adam from the soil that came before man when the earth was born. In other words, one creation leads to the next. Now take a moment to examine the Vesica Pisces shown to the right and think about all the places this shape shows up from. And I'm going to show you the Vesica Pisces so you can have a visual of that. Okay, the overlapping circles, and then in the center of that circle, that would be the Vesica Pisces, where they overlap. Okay, now, okay, so I'm going to start this over. Okay, now please take a moment to examine the Vesica Pisces shown to the right and think about all the places this shape shows up, from religious symbolism to the American football, to the human eye, to an almond, to the womb of a woman. Of course, it resembles a fish bladder as well. And in Latin, that is exactly what Vesica Pisces means, fish's bladder. In Christianity, it is commonly called the mandorla, 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 which has reduction gematria of 33, and most often it is shown around Jesus Christ. On the backs of Christian car bumpers, you'll often see it on its side in the body of a fish with the letters IOXYE, or a cross. Of course, this symbol also represents Pisces, the age of the zodiac we are living in, as covered in chapter 1. You'll also see the same symbol used in mocking fashion on car bumpers with the word Darwin or in chips. For a little practice, decode the words mandorla, IOXYE, Darwin, and in chips, and you'll find that they all sum to 33 in reduction plus more. In our chapter on scientific history by the numbers, we'll learn that Darwin was both born and dead on a date with numerology of 33, reminding of Jesus, who was crucified at the youthful age of 33. Now for some more gematria practice, we will decode the words fish's bladder, vesica Pisces, womb, religion, and Sheila Nagigs, SHEELANAGIGS, where the latter are spiritual carvings found across the world that exaggerate the womb of a woman. We will use our base ciphers taught in chapter 2 for this decoding. Again, the vesica Pisces is said to be the womb of the earth, representing what all of creation is born from and relating to the seed of life, which contains multiple vesica Pisces. Please also pay mind that the shape is formed by the duplicating and overlapping of two equal circles, which ties in with the belief from the seed of life about how God created the world by forming additional circles day by day, replicated from the one source circle. Okay, so fish's bladder equates to 53 in reduction. Vesica Pisces equates to 53 in reduction. Vesica Pisces equates to 53 in the septenary cipher. Womb, W-O-M-B, equates to 53 in ordinal. Sheila Nagigs, equates to 53 in reduction. And religion equates to 53 in reduction. In light of the encoding of number 53, as we learned in chapter 5, the number 5 is the third prime number, and 5 represents creation, where 3 represents spirituality and light, making all things possible. So the sun is light, knowledge is light, enlightening, absolutely. So how appropriate that the shape representing the womb of the universe have these specific numbers coded within in our most relevant cipher, which is the reduction cipher. On a related note, we will learn later about the significance of sex in this study, where the womb of a woman and creation goes hand in hand. Also related, using the ordinal method, sexual sums to 82, and using reverse reduction, vesica Pisces equates to 82. In terms of news by the numbers, in October of 2017, Harvey Weinstein, summing to 82 in reverse reduction, the famous Hollywood tycoon, received considerable media shaming for reportedly groping a number of famous women, a story that emerged in the time of Donald Trump, the groper-in-chief. In the chapter on Trump, we will discuss how these stories were most definitely coordinated, as Hillary Clinton, the opponent of Trump, also became a major part of the story, At the same time as those headlines were taking place, another actress came out and accused another Hollywood type, Ben Affleck, of wrongfully groping her, an actor who had performed in films funded by Weinstein. The actress who helped take some of the attention off the wrongdoing of Weinstein with the accusations against Affleck was Hillary Burton, and her name is spelled Hilarie Burton. A bizarre spelling for the name that is most commonly Hillary, Hillary. Using her Hollywood actress's name spelling, the name sums to 82, matching her birth year of 82, as well as the ordinal breakdown of her initials, where H is 8 and B is 2. Again, every single day, news is manufactured by the code, and this is but one tiny example. You can prove this to yourself by taking the time to look back at your most remembered news stories and applying the knowledge. Absolutely. You can also quickly find out why your favorite celebrities have had their names modified, as they so often do when they make it to the limelight. Absolutely. Okay, for a bit more on the Vesica Piscis, I want to show you how the name brings the crucial concepts of this entire text together, as we will prove the words language, mathematics, sacred geometry, Old Testament, and planet are each equating in gematria terms. Again, this practice of gematria is in relation to the way God supposedly created the world through language, a belief of Kabbalists. As we are about to discover, all of these emphasized words Psalms 268, a number containing 6 representing perfection, and the number 8 representing the infinite. As we have mentioned, mathematics are infinite, they are exact, and they are perfect. Even further, if you break down 68 in numerology terms, it is 5, our number of creation. Think about it. Think about it. Okay, the word Vesica Piscis equates to 68 in reduction. Sacred geometry equates to 68 in reduction. Mathematics equates to 68 in reverse reduction. Language equates to 68 in ordinal. And Old Testament equates to 68 in reverse reduction. The code comes from the Old Testament. Planet also equates to 68 in ordinal. Again, this entire code comes from the Torah, which is in tribute to the stars and begins the Old Testament. And please keep in mind that planets to the ancients included the sun and moon, where the sun is the source of all existence. Because we're talking about creation, it absolutely fits into this discussion. There can be no life without it. Thus there could be no creation. With no creation, there are no mathematics, language, or anything. Alright, and with regards to the existence of this world, tracing back to the Greeks and possibly further, are the geometric shapes known as the 5 Platonic solids. The singular Platonic solid, not by chance, shares the gematria of 68. And the word Platonic alone, using reverse reduction, equates to 45, similar to how geometry equates to 45 with reduction cipher. Number 4, foundation. Number 5, creation. Platonic solid equates to 68 in reduction, S as 10. Platonic equals 45, reverse reduction. geometry equals 45 in reduction, and gematrio, the plural of gematria, gematrio equates to 45 in reduction. Okay, the 5 platonic solids are as follows, and I am going to show you these shapes so you can have an understanding. Those are the 5 platonic solids right there. Alrighty. Alright. The 5 3D shapes are the 4-sided tetrahedron representing fire. Ooh, excuse me, I don't know, on my nose, allergies, but I'm just itching. Okay, let's start over. The 5 3D shapes are the 4-sided tetrahedron representing fire, the 6-sided cube, earth, 8-sided octahedron, air, okay, 12-sided icosahedron, water, and the 20-sided dodecahedron, I'm going to spell that dodecahedron, and it represents energy or ether, or both, energy, ether. In Plato's remembered work, Timaeus, he theorized that all matter broke down to these geometric objects. His theory corresponded with the belief that God is the master mathematician, the geometer of all existence, who brought all things into this into this world using mathematical intuition. For the record, the word geometer has ordinal gematria of 88, symbolizing the infinite power and strength, which is what God is. What is mathematics? While modern science has disproven that these shapes make up matter, Plato's theory was ultimately correct, that building blocks formed all existence, which we now refer to as atoms. Wow. Out of these 5 geometric shapes that all share perfect symmetry, the one I want you to know about is the cube. The reason why is because it is the most relevant to this study, and an object we will discuss multiple times before the end cover. This object is extremely important to the Jewish faith as well as Islam, and in the Jewish faith is commonly worn around the head during the time of prayer. In Judaism, it is known as tefillin, having reduction gematria of 42 and ordinal gematria of 87, both numbers reducing to 6 in numerology terms, matching the sides of the cubes, which are 6 in count. At the same time, the word synagogue, where it is most commonly fastened to the forehead, also has reduction gematria of 42. As for the 6 dimensions of the object, if you add the numbers 1 through 6 together, they total 21, making 21 the 6th triangular number. This is fascinating because Saturn, the 6th planet from the Sun, has reduction gematria of 21, same as Bible, same as Jews, when the letter S is counted for 10. Equally as interesting, if you write out 21 as a word, it sums to 42 in the reduction format, similar to Saturn, which equates to 42 in reverse reduction. Fittingly, it is the cube that is used to often symbolize Saturn. Also pertinent, the word cube has reduction gematria of 13, which is the 6th prime number. So the word tefillin, Tefillin, it equates to 42 in reduction. Synagogue equates to 42 in reduction. And the number 21 written as a word, 21, equates to 42 in reduction. The word Bible equates to 21 in reduction. The word Jews equates to 21 in reduction. S equates to 10. cube equals 13 in reduction. Again, as we learn, the cube and the other Platonic solids are all born from Metatron's cube, which is derived from the flower of life, the place we began the chapter. As you will recall, Metatron's cube is composed of 13 circles. Again, the sixth prime number, with the middle circle being encompassed by the cube. Please notice this fact about the object in the picture shown. Theoretically, the person who first created this object could have chosen to use more circles from the flower of life, but you know why they did not? It is because the prime number relationship with 13 and 6, and I'm going to show you that picture right there. I hope you can see that, or is it too bright? But that is it right there. Okay, Metatron's cube. Alright, also noteworthy, those who study in the footsteps of Plato are known as Platonists or Platonists. The word Platonism in ordinogematria sums to 119. The word Greece in reverse ordinal sums to 119. Metatron's cube, containing each of the important geometric objects to this fraternity of scholars, also symbolizes the Star of David, as we covered. And as a reminder, the words Orthodox and Star of David each equate to 119 in ordinogematria, as does foundation. To the Platonists, it is these 5 objects that make up the foundation of all things in existence. For our last piece on sacred geometry, I want to go back to where we began, the flower of life. Out of that shape also comes the tree of life, which is the physical representation for the spiritual belief system that is Kabbalah. In the chapter on Kabbalah just ahead, we will learn what is so fascinating about this diagram. For now, I just want you to appreciate that it is a component of sacred geometry, which is the bridge between letters and numbers, bringing much meaning to the study and a necessary visual aid. And I will show you the tree of life really quickly here. And that is it. I hope you can see that. Okay, the tree of life. And you can also go and Google these pictures. Okay, if you want to learn more about sacred geometry, I highly recommend the Disney cartoon Donald in Math Magic Land. Donald in Math Magic Land, which pays homage to the Greeks. Appropriately, the title of the cartoon equates to 89, as does Donald Duck, Greek, and number. All in our 4 base ciphers from chapter 2, which I'll let you decipher and discover. If you want to take it a step further using those same methods, unlock the numbers behind the word Pythagorean, and you'll quickly see why the cartoon was released in 59 on the date June 26. In both Hebrew and in English, Freemasonry sums to 59, but that's not all. Okay, for your learning pleasure, to the left is the tree of life labeled. If you want to warm up for chapter 8, where the focus is Kabbalah, do you notice how at the top of the diagram the crown connects with God? If you recall what you learned about those 2 words in chapter 1, you'll be well on your way. Even better, if you take the Hebrew word kether, K-E-T-H-E-R, you should be able to calculate a reduction value of 31, the 11th prime. As you learn in Hebrew, Kabbalah has reduction gematria of 11, the master number and the only and only the master can ever achieve the level of Kether. We'll get to it very soon, truth seeker. But so I'm going to show you the tree of life as it is labeled. And hopefully you can see that. Let me move this out of the way here. I'm going to give you... Alrighty. And you can go on Google and Google the tree of life diagrams so that you can see them for yourself. Alrighty. Now, okay, that was the end of chapter 6. So I am going to continue on into chapter 7. And I should be able to finish this chapter as well. So just hang on there with me. But anyway, this is chapter 7. Hermeticism, alchemy, and the 7 classical planets. Alright. Let us begin with definitions of Hermeticism and alchemy, courtesy of the Merriam-Webster's Dictionary. The definitions are as follows. Definition of Hermeticism. 1. Of or relating to the mystical and alchemical writings. I'm going to spell alchemical in case I'm mispronouncing it. But it is ALCHEMICAL. So I'm going to start over. Definition of Hermeticism. 1. Of or relating to the mystical and alchemical writings or teachings arising in the first 3 centuries CE and attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus. B. Relating to or characterized by subjects that are mysterious and difficult to understand, relating to or characterized by occultism or abstruseness, recondite a Hermetic discussion. 2. From the belief that Hermes Trismegistus invented a magic seal to keep vessels airtight. And so A, airtight Hermetic seal. B, impervious to external influence, trapped inside the Hermetic military machine. Jack Newfield. C, recluse, solitary leads a Hermetic life. Okay. Now the definition of alchemy. 1. A medieval chemical science and speculative philosophy aiming to achieve the transmutation of the base materials in gold, the discovery of a universal cure for disease, and the discovery of a means to indefinitely prolonging life. 2. A power or process that changes or transforms something in a mysterious or impressive way. The practitioners of financial alchemy that transformed the world of money in the 1980s. Gordon Williams. So that's a quote from him as an example. And 3. An inexplicable or mysterious transmuting. All right. As you can observe from the definitions, Hermeticism and alchemy are related and having overlap, both being centered on the number 7. Ultimately, they're both regarding spiritual ascension and purification. Recall, the number 7 represents divine completion. In the definition for Hermeticism, notice the use of the word seal. This word having gematria of 26, the number we first learned about in chapter 1, is highly relevant. If you have ever read Revelation, there are 7 seals that are referenced in chapters 5 through 8 that are components in the return of the Lord, the Son of God. In ordinal gematria, 7 seals equates to revelation, and in reverse ordinal gematria, 7 seals also equates to revelation. Please recall that in reduction gematria, revelation equates to 49, which has a square root of 7. There can be no doubt that the 7 seals referenced in the concluding book of the Bible are in reference to the 7 Hermetic principles, which also fall in line with the 7 sacred chakras of the human body. Early Christians referred to the Prisca Theologia, meaning the one true religious doctrine, which is found in the teaching of Hermeticism. I'm going to try to pronounce this word. Zoroastrianism, and I'm going to spell that for you. It's spelled Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism, paganism, Hinduism, and more. These same 7 principles are expressed in the most important text to alchemy, which is known as the Kybalion, and that is spelled Kybalion, having reverse reduction of gematria of 58. The whole phrase, the title, the Kybalion, has a reverse reduction gematria of 58. Same as 7 seals, not unlike the 7 seals being referenced in chapters 5 through 8 of Revelation. Awesome. On a related note, the reported author of the 7 Hermetic Principles, originally found in the Hermetic corpus, is Hermes Trismegistus, having reduction gematria of 85, the reflection of 58, and when S is counted for 10, having gematria of 121, same as Revelation and 7 seals in the ordinal cipher. As you know, the number 21 has a square root of 11, and when you sum 1 through 11, it totals 66, much like Revelation being the 66th book of the Bible. As we learn in chapter 5, the 11 is the master number, and these are master teachings from the one said to be most masterful of all by the Greeks, Hermes Trismegistus. So, Hermes Trismegistus equates to 85 in reduction, and 85 is the reflection of 58. And Hermes Trismegistus also equates to 121 in reduction when S is 10. Even more, as mentioned, these teachings are considered to be part of the Prisca Theologia, what all the world's religions are centered on. This term shares a reverse reduction value of 85 as well as 121 when P is recognized as 11 and H as 10. Prisca Theologia 85 reverse reduction, Prisca Theologia 121 reverse reduction, P as 11 and H as 10. Better than that, the title Hermetic Corpus sums to 74 in reduction gematria, matching the ordinal value of Masonic, and so much more. Let us not forget that the number 7 is the 4th prime number, and the divisors of number 4 sum to 7. When we arrive at our chapter on Christianity, the greater significance of this number 74, which is the reflection of 47, will be unlocked. For the time being, recall that Revelation is about the return of Jesus, summing to 74 using the ordinal method. 74 is 11 in numerology terms. 7 plus 4 is 11. Hermetic corpus. 74 in reduction, and Jesus equals 74 in ordinal. Okay, and on the same train of thought, the overlap with Christianity and the Hermetic corpus, let us examine the gematria overlap of Hermetic and Holy Bible. Keep in mind, gematria and gematria each have gematria of 45. Hermetic equals 45 in reduction. Hermetic equals 45 reverse reduction. Holy Bible equals 45 in reduction. Holy Bible equals 45 reverse reduction. Do not discount that both titles begin with H, the 8th letter. As we learn, this numerical digit represents the infinite, balance, symmetry, power, and strength. In light of this symbolism, let us now examine the 7 principles which encompass these values. All right, and really quickly, I just want to show you the gematria of the words that he just, so you can get the mathematical equations behind them. Okay. Oops. Screen went dark for a second, so let's see. You can get a better view. And then I'm going to start at the very bottom of the page with mentalism. And so let's see here. God, my nose is itching. Oh man. Okay, so number 1, these are the 7 principles which encompass the values of, what is it? Well, let me reread it for myself so I know what I'm doing. Do not discount that both the titles begin with H, the 8th letter. As we learned, this numerical digit represents the infinite, balance, symmetry, power, and strength. In light of this symbolism, let us now examine the 7 principles which encompass these values. So the first one is mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. Wow. Correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. 3. Vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Everything vibrates. Number 4. Polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. 5. Rhythm. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Cause and effect. Every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. There are many planes of causation, but nothing escapes the law. Gender. Gender is everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. All right. Let us put into terms what these 7 principles mean and how they relate to the overall study of this book. The significance of language, letters, and numbers, and the spiritual significance behind their relationship. Again, the purpose of Kabbalah is to understand God so that we mortal souls can grow up to be more like the Creator, increasing our understanding of our existence as well as our appreciation for being here and our happiness with it. Mentalism is much the same, recognizing that the mind holds the power to improve our state of being no matter how bad or good our surroundings are at any particular moment. All is mind, and all can be achieved. Okay, what I say? And all can be achieved with the mind. The next principle, correspondence, is intuitive. Correspondence is intuitive. What happens above happens below. Simply put, we are stardust, and what takes place within the stars takes place within us. If you have ever studied astrology, you are likely aware of how your date of birth impacts the person you are, from the way you behave to the way you think to what your innermost ambitions are. The third principle, vibration, is a big one. In fact, it is what gives meaning to this entire study. Everything carries a vibration, including every number. and these vibrations impact our state of consciousness and our behavior, much like astrology. If you have ever read about personal numerology corresponding with your date of birth and your personal name gematria, you have learned that the numbers associated with you, which are the digits 1 through 9 and the master numbers 11 and 22, dictate what you are as an individual. What often sounds like hocus pocus to common folk becomes gospel when this knowledge is studied and applied. For you, the reader, I personally recommend decoding your own name, your parents' names, your friends' names, your children's names, and your other loved ones' names, as well as the date of births of each. What you'll find will be seemingly magical when you compare the numbers of those around you with your own. Mark my words, it never fails. In the final chapter, I will share with you my own characteristics to help inspire. What is true for me is true for all of us. Wow. The fourth principle, polarity, speaks to the dualism of this world. If you have ever done something kind for someone and something horrible happened to you in return, this is exactly what this principle speaks to. Wow. Essentially, it is communicating the world is in balance, and this is how balance works. You do something good and bam, just like that, something bad comes right back at you. If you've ever noticed how tyrants get away with murder, that's the other side of the coin. I don't know about you, truth seeker, but the most dishonest people I know also seem to have the best luck. That's amazing. But please don't let that be the reason to turn to the dark side. Absolutely. Instead, realize to maintain the balance, the world needs those who have pure souls, which I imagine you are as someone who sought out this book, The Truth Seeker. As for the number 5, rhythm, I think you probably already understand. What goes around comes around. The 6th principle, cause and effect, reminds that there are no coincidences. Every action determines an equal and opposite reaction. Think of it like this. We as people are dominoes, and what we do in the world in terms of every action leads to some sort of output. This is why it is important to be good in nature, because if more people were, we could see a greater positive effect in the chain of humanity. And the concluding principle, the 7th, gender, speaks for itself. If you were not aware, numbers are even assigned a masculine and feminine, thanks to Pythagoras and the Greeks, and possibly those who came before them. According to Pythagoras, odd numbers were masculine and even numbers were feminine. This is largely because of the number 3, which symbolizes strength and power. Not to say that women aren't strong and powerful, but in terms of physical prowess, men are more gifted in this regard, at least typically. If you want to boil down the 7 principles further, they amount to the golden rule, which is the heart of all spiritual teachings. The golden rule is, do unto others as you would have done unto you. If you have never taken the time to consider the essence of this simple teaching, it is based in the concept that when you do right, you make the world a better place, and you help the next person in line to do right as well. Of course, the 7 principles are more detailed and specific, but they are trying to communicate to the reader the significance of understanding the consequences of our actions and how positivity and positive actions can improve our state of being and create more positive outcomes in the world we all share, even in the face of adversity, as we so often battle with. It's mathematics. Just for a moment, imagine a world where everyone operated by the golden rule. Imagine, it could be glorious. It all begins with the mental. Let us now compare Golden Rule with Hermes Trismegistus, the author of the 7 Principles. So, the phrase Golden Rule equates to 113 in ordinal. Hermes Trismegistus equates to 113 reverse reduction. Okay, Golden Rule equates to 85 reverse reduction, E as 22. Hermes Trismegistus equates to 85 in reduction. Also relevant, Golden Rule has reverse reduction gematria of 49, like the reduction gematria of Revelation, which has a square root of 7, bringing us back to the 7 principles. Golden Rule equates to 49 reverse reduction. For good measure, let's compare in gematria terms the words Revelation, Epiphany, and Apocalypse, with the latter word in Greek meaning uncovering or having a breakthrough, not unlike the words Revelation and Epiphany. Okay. The word Revelation equates to 49 in reduction. Epiphany equates to 49 in reduction. And Apocalypse, 49 reverse reduction. In the Bible, in Daniel 12 verse 4, it states that these seals are not to be understood until the end of the age, which is certainly the age of Pisces, which we are now living, and appropriately, these same 7 seals are a major component in the conclusion of the Holy Bible, where they are presented with much mystery and intrigue, not unlike the words surrounding Revelation 13:18 about the number of the beast. Well, here we are, truth seeker. Let me start that over. Well, here we are, truth seeker, reaching the end of the age, and the time is now for us as a people to overcome and to have the great awakening many of us have been longing for. We must change our course, and we must heal our transgressions now and not later. Here we have the knowledge to comprehend, understand, and act upon, and all the reasons to do so. The verse from Daniel prophesying what is to come is as follows. Daniel 12 verse 4 in the NIV. But you, Daniel, roll up and seal the words of the scroll until the end. Many will go here and there to increase knowledge. We are most certainly increasing knowledge. Absolutely. Appropriately, the book of Daniel is a biblical apocalypse, combining the prophecy of history with the study of the end of days, which is both cosmic in its teaching and political in its nature. It is very much a precursor to Revelation, which, despite concluding the New Testament, is entirely based in the Old Testament. Something I've been telling my sisters and brothers anyway for a long time, or any other Christian who says that you don't need to read the Old Testament. The New Testament is based out of the Old Testament. It's a regurgitation of the Old Testament. I mean, it's just freaking amazing. Also intriguing is that Daniel is the 27th book of the Old Testament, and using reduction gematria, Daniel sums to 27. Moving on, as stated in the definition we began with, alchemy is important knowledge to the occult, including Freemasonry. Once again, the word occult means hidden. It does not mean evil or have any nefarious connotations with it, even though it is often considered in such light. Despite the fact that some factions of Freemasonry and other secret societies are operating for nefarious purposes, this is not their true intent. The true intent is known as the mystical ascent, having reduction gematria of 47, like the degrees on the Freemason logo, as we learned. The mystical ascent is a fancy way of saying connecting with God by unlocking the hidden knowledge that brings one closer to their maker, including that of Hermeticism and alchemy. Appropriately, the names Hermeticism, alchemy, and Freemasonry have overlap in Gematria. As we decode, keep in mind the number 6 represents perfection, and the number 7 connects to divine completion. Again, Hermeticism, alchemy, and Freemasonry are involved efforts in the pursuit of spiritual perfection, completing what lacks within and attaining the divine. At least this is what they are intended to be. Hermeticism equals 67, reverse reduction. Alchemy 67 in ordinal, and Freemasonry 67 in reduction, S as 10. On a related note, Revelation in reduction, when V is counted for as 22, also sums to 67, as does the Kabbalion when H is counted for as 10. As a reminder, if you read Revelation, it is full of sevens and of course teaches of 666. Alrighty. Sorry guys, my nose is itching. Revelation equates to 67, in reduction, V as 22, the Kabbalion 67, reverse reduction, H as 10. As we learn to start the chapter, the 7 seals of Revelation are truly the 7 Hermetic principles as described in the Kabbalion and the Hermetic corpus, important to both Hermeticism and alchemy. Both Hermeticism and alchemy originate from Egypt, the civilization that was born from the Babylonians and which gave rise to the Greeks, where Pythagoras and Plato learned the wisdom they taught to their followers, including that of Gematria and isopsephy. As we have covered, it was the Greeks who wrote Revelation, and it is the same Greeks who are credited with creating the Hermetic corpus, where the 7 principles originate according to modern historians. That said, it is often stated all roads lead to Rome, but if you keep traveling, the same road goes through Greece, Egypt, Babylon, the Far East, and possibly further. Since we live in an age where history has been buried, destroyed, distorted, and purposefully recreated, we must recognize that much has been lost, some never to be recovered. I make this point so that you remember when I say something is credited to someone, it is entirely possible that despite the credit being placed where it is in modern times, it might not be entirely true. Absolutely. Back on the subject of the mystical ascent in modern practice. Alchemy is primarily focused on transmuting states of consciousness to achieve higher spiritual planes, more so that transmuting transmuting lead into gold. As we stated earlier, this is not unlike Kabbalah, which is also pertaining to spiritual ascension and enlightenment. For a little more gematria, I want to decode the word transmute, using both reduction and reverse reduction methods to shed more light on the overlap between Freemasonry, Hermeticism, alchemy, and Kabbalah. So transmute equates to 32 in reduction. Transmute equates to 58 reverse reduction. Absolutely. All right. Take note of the output of number 32. Take note of the output of number 32. The Masonic degree coming just before the sacred 33rd degree. And don't forget the relationship with the number 58 and Freemasonry, as well as the Kabbalion. Or that the 7 seals are written about in chapters 5 through 8, 58 of Revelation. In Kabbalah, on the Tree of Life, there are 32 spiritual paths which you can examine from the conclusion of the last chapter. The Book of Formation, The foundational text of Kabbalah begins with its first sentence. In 32 mysterious paths of wisdom did the Lord write, the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, the living Elohim, and King of the universe, the Almighty, merciful and gracious God. He is great and exalted and eternally dwelling in the height. His name is holy. He is exalted and holy. The very next sentence is where we began the first chapter. He created his universe by three forms of expression: numbers, letters, and words. All right. Knowing that Kabbalah, Hermeticism, and alchemy are foundational pieces of the teachings within Masonic lodges, I want to revisit the quote from Albert Pike from his opus Morals and Dogma. Within he writes, "One is filled with admiration on penetrating into the sanctuary of the Kabbalah, at seeing a doctrine so logical, so simple, and at the same time so absolute. The necessary union of ideas and signs, the consecration of the most fundamental realities by their primitive characters, the trinity of words, letters, and numbers, a philosophy simple as the alphabet, profound and infinite as the word, theorems more complete and luminous than those of Pythagoras, a theology summed up by counting on one's fingers, an infinite which can be held in the hollow of an infant's hands, 10 ciphers and 22 letters, a triangle, a square, and a circle. These are all the elements of Kabbalah. These are the elementary principles of the written word, reflection of that spoken word that created the world." Wow. Pay mind to the fact that he uses the word sanctuary in reference to what is contained within Kabbalah. It is no coincidence he chose this specific word in light of the 32 paths of Kabbalah from the Book of Formation. As we learn, every number carries a vibration, which means every word does the same. Let us now decode the word sanctuary using the reduction and reverse reduction methods to find a familiar pattern in numbers. Again, 32 and 58. So sanctuary equates to 32 in reduction. Sanctuary equates to 58 reverse reduction. In chapter 2, we learn the significance of 32, 58, and 187 in relation to Freemasonry, the establishment of the United States and its capital, Washington, D.C., where the statue of Pike with Morals and Dogma is immortalized. On this subject, let us decode the word transmutation, the word describing what alchemy is, what it is all about: transmuting oneself from the place they currently are to a better place, a more spiritually enlightened place, more in tune with oneself, their surroundings, and God. To do so, we will use the most relevant of the Kabbalah ciphers, ALW Kabbalah, to uncover more on 187. To uncover one more 187. So the word transmutation equates to 187 in the ALW Kabbalah cipher. Please recall that there are 187 chapters in the Torah. The source code for the relationship between letters and numbers and the word Elohim in Hebrew equates to 187. Again, in alchemy, you are using the Hermetic philosophy to transmute your state of being, to raise your spiritual vibration, and to connect with the Creator, or expressed otherwise, Elohim. As a second related reminder, it is the belief of Kabbalists that by understanding the numerical code behind the letters of language, you can better interpret the spiritual text from the Hebrew Bible to the Holy Bible, as well as the events and signs around you, helping achieve the same desired outcome of spiritual ascension. It is the totality of the knowledge that the occultists seek to make the path most attainable. Also, on the subject of transmutation, let us cover the 7 classical planets, also known as the 7 luminaries, and the 7 metals that are associated with each of the celestial bodies. To the Greeks, the word planet meant wanderer, and they learned this name because they were the only objects, and they earned this name because they were the only objects in the sky wandering to the naked eye. It is for these 7 heavenly bodies that we have the 7 days of the week, as we learned about in chapter 5. Okay, in alchemy, the sun is associated with gold, the moon with silver, Mars with iron, Mercury with quicksilver, what is commonly called mercury, Jupiter with tin, Venus with copper, and Saturn with lead. Above all, notice it is the sun representing gold and Saturn representing lead. The moon representing silver is fascinating, and later you will learn about the Wizard of Oz and why Dorothy wore silver slippers on the yellow brick gold road, in the book version of the story, which is entirely related. Dorothy and Toto aside, most commonly in alchemy, you will hear the reference of lead into gold, meaning from one end of the spectrum to the opposite, playing on the principle of polarity. As we mentioned earlier, it is the sun that is 93 million miles from the earth, the true keeper of time, and it is Saturn, the most distant of the planets to the ancients, and having ordinal gematria of 93, that is considered to be the keeper of time by the occult. Understand, it is no coincidence that these 2 heavenly objects, the bookends of time of the 7 luminaries, represent gold and lead in this ancient study, and share overlap in letters and numbers. Instead, it is a reminder of duality and how everything in this world has an equal and opposite. As we covered, Hermeticism originates from Egypt and Greece, and it is Egypt where the legend of Horus, the son of Osiris, and Isis, who represents the sun and the moon, comes from. Okay, let me reread that. As we covered, Hermeticism originates from Egypt and Greece, and it is Egypt where the legend of Horus, the son of Osiris and Isis, who represents the sun and moon, comes from. Okay. In the same legend, as briefly discussed in chapter 5, it is where Horus avenges his father's murder. Set, who is the planet Saturn, again bringing the 2 heavenly objects together. In the chapter on murder by numbers, you'll discover the significance of the number 44 representing kill in ordinal, same as how Set sums to 44, not unlike clock. My goodness. While we're on this subject, I should mention that a famous story from 1993, that of Lorena Bobbitt cutting off her husband's penis, John Wayne Bobbitt's, and throwing it out the window, never for it to be found again, was a complete hoax, and a major tribute to the story of Osiris's lost penis, which was also never recovered. It is said that John Bobbitt's birthday was March 23rd, 1967, emphasis on 67, for Hermeticism, alchemy, and Freemasonry, and the date his penis was reportedly cut off was June 23rd, 1993, emphasis on 93, which was his 93rd day of being 26 years old. Recall that Son of God has reduction gematria of 26, along with a host of other gods relating to the sum, most notably Apollo. If you look further, his birth numerology also equates to 93 as follows: 3/23/67. 3 plus 23 plus 67 equals 93. Adding to the riddle is the reduction gematria of the name Lorena Bobbitt, which equates to 54, just the same as Sun, Horus, Osiris, and Love, where in their case intercourse would no longer be a part of the equation, at least according to media reports. So Lorena Bobbitt, her name equates to 54 in reduction. Sun equates to 54 reverse ordinal. Osiris equates to 54 in LCH Kabbalah, and Love equates to 54 in ordinal, and Love also equates to 54 reverse ordinal. Lorena Bobbitt equates to 187 as well, a number connecting to Elohim and the Torah, as we have covered, as well as the phrase unconquered sun, S-U-N, which originates out of Rome and was the title given to the light in the sky by those who worshipped the sun, including mainly early Christians who perceived the sun as God's love and a spiritual force. Unconquered sun Unconquered Sun as well as Sol, S-O-L, Invictus were two names predating Jesus. Lorena Bobbitt, her name equates to 187 in Francis Bacon cipher. Unconquered Sun, S-U-N, equates to 187 reverse ordinal. On the subject of early Christianity, notice the overlap in gematria with Christianity and unconquered sun. While thinking about the words son, S-O-N, and sun, S-U-N, in terms of the common phrase used in modern Christianity by English-speaking people, the Son of God, S-O-N, or God's Son, titles we'll learn more about in the chapters ahead, but which you are more than welcome to decode now to get ahead of the curve. But anyway, Christianity equates to 65 in reduction. Unconquered Sun, S-U-N, equates to 65 in reduction. For a historical note, it was the Council of Nicaea of 325 CE, where the sun god known as Sol Invictus, or the unconquered sun, S-U-N, became also known as Jesus. In light of Freemasonry being a major part of our understanding of Christianity, as we do through the English translations of the Bibles, let us examine the ordinal gematria of Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, which equates to 325, and most definitely not by coincidence. So, Scottish Rite of Freemasonry equates to 325 in the ordinal cipher. To close out our parallel of the story of the Bobbitts, the surname Bobbitt has reverse reduction gematria of 47, the number representing time as well as authority, where time is the ultimate authority. The number 47 also syncs with the degrees of separation for the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, as we have learned. Even better, Bobbitt has reversed ordinal gematria of 119, the number corresponding with all-seeing eye, where the sun is the true symbolism of this well-known title. And let us not forget, the purpose of these stories is to capture the mind's eye of the masses, which the Bobbitt story no doubt did for millions. I was just a boy when it was breaking news, but it's a story I'll personally never forget. And even knowing what a hoax it is, I'm feeling sore in my shorts right now just thinking about it. Just as I felt sore in my shorts the first time I heard the news. The media tyrants who contrived the propaganda, they're very much aiming to impact our mental state, and always in a negative way. Again, the mental is the key in Hermeticism and in alchemy, which Freemasonry has roots in and which the tyrants are well studied. So, the word bobbit equals 47 reverse reduction. The word bobbit equals 119 in reverse ordinal. It's also worth mentioning that the name bobbit connects to Sun and Horus through the septenary method as follows. Bobbit equates to 27 in septenary cipher, Sun 27 reverse ordinal, Horus 27 in reduction, and Horus 27 reverse reduction. Alrighty. Moving on to draw another parallel between the Sun and Saturn. From Earth, we have our clearest view of Saturn every 54 weeks. And as we have learned in Gematria terms, Sun sums to 54 in ordinal, while Horus sums to 54 in reverse ordinal, clearly illustrating the significant relationship between these two classical planets that have been studied for eons to chart the course of time. Wow. Tying in with the coding of the number 54 in both ordinal and reverse ordinal, eyes equates to 54, having perfect symmetry just as they do on our respective faces. If it weren't for our eyes, we wouldn't be able to appreciate these amazing and mathematically inclined relationships in the sky. Even more, the legend is that Horus's right eye became the sun and his left eye became the moon after winning his battle with his enemies, with his nemesis Set, avenging his father. Through these stories and legends, we can clearly see how the stars above have been used throughout time to create the belief systems we abide by below on earth. Again, as above, so below. And you should know by now, these beliefs aren't arbitrary. Instead, they are the products of countless years of observation, mapping, ingenuity, and mankind coming to understand that what is taking place above is ruling over what's below. Knowledge that has largely been forgotten in modern times. Okay. To illustrate this point, in the Bible, there are 189 mentions of gold. Again, the sun represents gold in Hermeticism and alchemy. And the sun is also the true representation of Jesus Christ, which is God's love for all humanity, unconditional, who died for our sins and who returned to life before ascending into the heavens. Knowing that there are 189 mentions of gold in the Bible, please admire the gematria of the word reincarnate, where every single day the sun dies at night and reincarnates in the morning. Reincarnate equals 189 in reverse ordinal. Resurrection equals 189 ALK Kabbalah cipher, and reincarnate equates to 54 in the reduction cipher. Even better, reincarnate also shares gematria of 108, reminding that the sun is said to have a diameter that is 108 Earths across, and to be the distance of 108 suns from Earth. Please also recall how this number connects to geometry, and how the Holy Bible also shares gematria corresponding with geometry. As a reminder, it is God who is the master mathematician and who, according to Kabbalists, has built this world with letters, number, and language. Wow. So reincarnate equates to 108 in ordinal. To close this chapter, I want to make an important point. The Kabbalion, published in 1908, the Hermetic and alchemical text. I'm going to restart this paragraph. To close this chapter, I want to make an important point. The Kabbalion, published in 1908, the Hermetic and alchemical text, where the 7 principles are recorded for achieving spiritual mastery, has credited authors known as the 3 initiates, who claim to be the spirit of Hermes Trismegistus. Hermes Trismegistus, throughout history, has been said to be a mortal man, a living God, a God above, and a complete fiction, depending on whom you talk to. The same can be said about the likes of Jesus Christ and other spiritual figures. In the case of Hermes, as we learn, he is the centerpiece of the closely related spiritual system known as Hermeticism, and the supposed author of the Hermetic corpus, which has many parallels to Christianity, as covered. What all historians concur on regarding Hermes is that he is a character from Greek culture and is the reincarnation of Thoth, the Egyptian god of reading, writing, language, mathematics, thought, and more, whose existence is always debated. There are many who contend Thoth, Thoth, was made up so that the Egyptians could take credit for the advancements of the Babylonians who came before them. According to Manly P. Hall, Thoth is the author of 26,000 books. Quite an accomplishment. 26. As you will recall from chapter 1, in reduction gematria, Thoth sums to 26, same as God in ordinal and same as Babylon. And it is just that which brings me to the concluding point. When it comes to God, I think we are wise to respect the beliefs of all, from Hermes to Thoth, to Horus, to Jesus, and more, so long as one's beliefs are not harmful to others. Ultimately, all faiths have parallels, and no one is all right or all wrong. To claim that your beliefs are superior to anyone else's is to be ignorant of history and what our ancestors have taught us. In Hermeticism, there is no absolute truth, in the same way there is no such thing as absolute cold or absolute hot. If you have ever come from a frigid environment, the touch of mildly warm water may feel comforting, but the same water temperature on a hot summer's day might feel equally as cool and refreshing, or possibly even too warm due to the already hot temperature surrounding. Thus, all truths are based in perspective, and as the mortal souls we are, we can never have enough perspective to entertain what is fully true or untrue. These are words to the wise. For a few more words, please be open to knowledge, and take what is given and use what is worthy. I know that in the Bible and other spiritual texts, it tells the reader to take the words within the book as the absolute authority, while ignoring the words of others, and these same texts are credited to being the words of God, and if not obeyed, there might be consequences. But please use reason. As I have taught my students, God is not in the business of writing books, but God is in all of us, and God has given us discernment to detect right and wrong and truth from lies, however challenging it may be sometimes. And of course, please use that same advice with every word written in this book. As the author, my only intention is to shed knowledge on what has been hidden from the masses for far too long, and what, in my opinion, is deserved to be known by all. Absolutely. Excuse me, there's a truck backing up out there. Xfinity. Okay, I'm almost done. Let's see. Okay, going forward, let the light shine and let the golden rule guide you. And before totally saying goodbye to this chapter, I'll give you a few more gematria notes to consider. Keep in mind, the sun in the sky is adorned by 12 constellations, not unlike Jesus and his 12 disciples, making 13, which is the 7th Fibonacci number, which are said to be the numbers of God, used to create the world we share, that we will learn more about in the chapters ahead. So, the word Son of God equals 41 in reduction, Christ equals 41 in reduction, King 41 in ordinal, Crucify 41 in reverse reduction, 41 the 13th prime number, JC equals 10 plus 3, 13. Okay, the word lock equals 41. The word key, 41. Okay, the word open equals 13. In light of the 7 seals, Christ equals 77 in ordinal. 77 written as a word equals 49 in reduction. Revelation equals 49 in reduction. 77 as a word equals 149 reverse ordinal. Revelation equals 149. 149 in reverse ordinal. 7 seals also equates to 149 in reverse ordinal as well. Alrighty, so that is the concluding chapter 7. And I will probably try to come back and read some more tomorrow, or who knows if I get a chance to read another chapter later tonight. But I do want to upload them, and whatnot. Just keep the chapters going. And I'm hoping that if you come across these videos, that you will like the video and you will share the information with your friends and with anyone. Just share the information. You have a good day, and be sure to check out Zachary K. Hubbard's books. Get them from his YouTube channels, Gematria Effect Sports, Gematria Effect News, and that's where you can get letters and numbers. And also on his blog page, GematriaEffectNews.blogspot.com, where you can get his latest book, Number Games, and have it pre-ordered, and that book will be paperback. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the reading, and I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.